Plantation on Fort George Island in Duval County was owned and operated by Zephaniah and Anna Kingsley from 1813 until 1839. During this time, their slaves lived in an ark of cabins, all equally distanced from the house. After the Kingsleys left, African-American squatters moved into the cabins for some time. Eventually, the property was acquired by the National Park Service and opened to the public. The plantation house still stands at the site today, but unfortunately is not accessible to the public. A freestanding brick kitchen has been refurbished and equipped with an interpretive display. Ruins of a sugar mill were also found in the woods. The site features 25 of the original 32 cabins. The cabins were built by slaves using building techniques they brought with them. They are constructed out of tabby, a type of cement made from oyster shells. The shells were retrieved from a Native American shell ring also on the island. Because of this, some of the walls contain native pottery sherds. The cabins are simple two-room buildings with a brick fireplace. They are in various stages of preservation. Some have all four walls practically at their original height, while others are merely foundations covered over by the forest. One cabin has been restored to its original form.
Well, archaeology at Kingsley Plantation has been sort of an ongoing process since the late 1960s with Charles Fairbanks, his first excavations at Kingsley in '68. Really the first, kind of the birthplace of African American archaeology, or at least plantation archaeology, with a focus on African American context.
Dr. James Davidson of the University of Florida has been excavating at Kingsley Plantation for several years.
Kingsley Plantation on Fort George Island is a very special site because in part of Zephaniah Kingsley himself. It's his Afrocentrism, it's his ability to see beyond race and racism and be able to see Africans as people that is most interesting, and that's what people were captivated by in the 19th century, and that's what in part draws people to Kingsley today. Through archaeology, we can see some of his Afrocentrism, some of his kindness, or his basically allowing these people some little freedoms. And you can see that in several different ways. We know that he allowed them religious freedom. He did allow them to budget their own time. So he worked on the task system. If they had time at the end of the day, they could do their own work, their own labor, their own leisure time. And he did allow them to sort of feel invested in themselves and their families on the land. Basically, each cabin was a nuclear family, and they had privacy. They were able to lock their own dwelling houses. They had access to firearms. They were able to protect themselves and their families.
Items found in the floors of cabins include blue beads, cobbles, and iron, all charms for good luck in some African beliefs. The remains of posts were found behind a cabin, suggesting a back porch, an area not visible from the plantation house. Evidence from the site helped draw many conclusions about the lives of Kingsley's slaves.
We wanted to look at cabins that we knew were occupied during Kingsley's tenure on the island, 1814, 1839, and we lucked out. We did find cabins that had been occupied during that time alone, so were not occupied after Kingsley leaves for Haiti in 1839. And we were looking for African identity, African religion, and we were very lucky. In 2006, in the first summer we excavated at Kingsley, we did find evidence of an animal sacrifice in the form of a chicken, a hen that had been killed, and the blood had been spilled, presumably, and buried in the floor of a slave cabin, very close to the wall and the wall trench. So it is very suggestive of a sacrifice that would be associated with dedication of the structure.
Kingsley Plantation is open 7 days a week from 9 until 5. Admission is free. For more information, check out their page at the National Park Service website, www.nps.org.
That's all right, you know now that's all. Since I know I got a seat in the kingdom now, that's all. Well, you talk about me, just how much do you please? Oh, you try to talk to me, I'm gonna bend mine. You know now, since I know I got a seat in it, hallelujah, that's all. Well, that's all right. Well, that's all right. Since I know I got a seat in it. that's